what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Hungry Road. Thank you for tuning in. This is your first time seeing my face. Please smash the subscribe button. Like the video, helps me out in the algorithms. I appreciate you tuning in. But this is going to be story time with Weavy Face. This is my second edition. The last one I did was when I bought my 2015 Ford Taurus show. You can click up here if you want to see that video, or you can go there after this one. But this is going to be the story of my Maseratis. I've owned two of them, and I posted on my Instagram a little while back asking people if they wanted to hear the story about these cars. And a majority said yes, so I figured I'd make a video. I'm a little late on it right now, but now is as good a time as ever. So I guess we'll start off with the four-door one I had. It was a 2007 Maserati Quattroporte. This was an executive, I believe. There were several different trims. I don't remember them right now because it's a long time ago. But mine came with the F1 transmission, so I had the little toggle right there in the middle. You had to like flick it up to go into drive it and pull it up and pull it back to go into reverse. It was very clunky or whatever, but it was a very fun car to drive. So I'll tell you what happened to it. So I'm a car guy, as you know. I've always dreamed of owning an exotic car. You know, I had the Lamborghini Diablo and the Countach poster on my walls. Now, I couldn't quite afford that at the time, but somewhere along the line, I just started looking at used cars and what these exotic cars go for, you know, 10 years after they've come out or 5 years after they come out. And I'm like 22, 23 years old at the time. This would have been in 2013 when I bought the four-door. I was just kind of messing around on the cars.com app. My roommate at the time, shout out to you, Caleb, he had just brought home a nice, beautiful blue Dodge Dakota. I said, man, I want a new car too. So and being impulsive as I am, I got on cars.com and I'm scrolling, just looking, and I was living in South Lyon, Michigan at the time, and I found a 2007 black on, well, not black on black, it was black outside, black wheels, but it had the peanut butter interior, and I put some pictures up here so you can see them, and it was $39,995, and it had like 27,000 miles on it in Lansing, Michigan. I'm like, what are the odds? And it was at a Chevrolet dealership. That should have been a red flag right there. But all right, I said, Caleb, you want to come with me to go check out this this little ride with me? He was like, yeah, man, I'll come. So hopped in the car. It was a Thursday. I remember that very vividly. The dealership closed at like 8 or 9 o'clock. It's one of those late days where dealerships stay open a little later. So we shot out to Lansing, about a 45-minute drive, and checked it out. I had my 2012 Dodge Challenger. I had owned for just over a year at the time. I think I had 20,000 miles on it at that point. I was driving that joint. And we got out there, and needless to say, I was able to test drive it. I fell in love instantly. And I think had I done more research, I wouldn't have purchased a car because it was a very impulsive thing that I did. But just the fact that I was, you know, 24, 25 years old. If it was 2013, how old was I back then? Let's go with 26. 26 years old, and to be able to say I own a Maserati. So I think it was that kind of thing. I had gone through a really big breakup at the time, and I was kind of spiraling a little bit. So it was a very emotional purchase. It was something that made me feel good. So anyway, we started the paperwork. I traded in my Challenger for what I had owed on it at the time. And then, yeah, so I had to drive the Challenger back home. And then the whole next day, I'm at work just like buzzing, head in the clouds, not really paying attention. And I'm texting the dealer all my information, all this stuff so we can finish the paperwork up because the banks weren't open when I went the Thursday before. So Friday morning, I'm talking dealership. He said, yo, come pick it up after work. So I was absolutely geeked. So after work, I shot out to Lansing and I brought home my first quote-unquote exotic car, a 2007 Maserati Quattroporte. I fell in love with it, like I said, from the moment I brought it home. But something happened on the way home from the dealership. I hit a pothole, and Michigan roads are notorious for swallowing cars whole. And the tire pressure sensor light came on. I'm like, oh man, that's normal. I think it was normal, but it wasn't. So I cracked a rim on the drive home. Little did I know, but I had it checked out, and that's what was told to me, that I cracked a rim. Like, damn, how much does a rim cost? $1,400 for a brand new OEM Maserati rim. I said, hell no. My payment was like $600 something at the time. I financed the entire thing, no money down. I think I had like 3% interest, something like that. That's the beauty of good credit. And yeah, so I'm not paying $1,400 for a wheel. So I hooked my boys at Bell Tire on Milford Road, I believe it was Milford Road out there in South Lyon, just north of South Lyon. They hooked me up. They would send my wheel off to get repaired. And it was like $150 each time it happened. And that was the story with that. So the first 18 months I had this car, I put 14,500 miles on it, and I drove it every day. It was a daily driver. I drove it in the wintertime, summer, spring, the whole thing. And I cracked, I believe, 4 wheels during my ownership period of this car. Potholes just come out and swallow the car, and then you gotta get Bell Tire and get the wheel fixed. A lot of good memories made in that car. A lot of people said I motivated them because I bought this car. A lot of people sit in it, have a good time. A friend of mine drive it, you know, just to take care of it while I was out of town on business. And I love this car. I even posted on my Facebook at the time, so give me a name for the car. And my friend John Tez just jumped out and said, Oprah. I'm like, done, Oprah, black and expensive. It made all the sense in the world. So Oprah is kind of what stuck. And eventually I got my new job. So I had to move to Minnesota for about 6 months. And guess what? Oprah came with me. And Minnesota's way colder than Michigan, one of the coldest places in the country. And Oprah did just fine out there. Yeah, a couple slow starts when it's -20 out, but she started up every time. I had a few issues with the low profile tires on the car. I believe I had 25 series profile tires on the front and I think 30s in the back. I never cracked any back wheels. It was always the fronts. And it was crazy. I didn't crack any wheels in Minnesota. The roads are much better out there. And yeah, I just took good care of it. And so I made it through the Minnesota winter out there, brought it back all the way to Connecticut with me when I relocated out here. And I believe the January in 2015, I was on my way to pick up my girlfriend at the time to go on a date. It was a little snowy out. By this time I had my Challenger. I had both the white Challenger with the black stripes and the Maserati because I didn't want to put a whole bunch of miles on the Maserati after I found out I had the F1 clutch that needs a replacement every so many miles, which is like an $8,000 to $9,000 job each time you do it. I said, no, I'm gonna go ahead and get me a daily driver and then have the Maserati as a weekend car or cool car, whatever. But it was date night. I want to take the nice car out, but it was snowing. And I believe this was before I really knew about tires. You can, crucify me in the comments if you want to, but I didn't know much about tires, so they had summer tires on it. They had Michelin Pilots. I had go back and look. I had like Michigan Pilot Sports or something like that. And yeah, I'm trying to drive in the snow with summer tires on it. And yeah, I was on a little highway, whatever. Nobody was around me, and I kind of was driving, and the car got out on me like this, and then boom, right into a concrete divider, and then I bounced off that divider and went to the other one over there. So it was damaged all over the car. I was unhurt. I did hurt my pinky a little bit, like right here. I don't know what happened. It obviously very quickly. But that was the end of Oprah, and I missed Oprah dearly. That was my baby. That was like my first exotic car. Granted, I had a really, really nice Challenger, but the sound of the Maserati, the feel of you driving it, the materials, the craftsmanship, the power, I missed all of that. And I didn't have one for, I want to say about a year and a half. And this is where ORion comes in. And ORion was just a name I gave to the Gran Turismo I had because it stood for Oprah's Revenge. So the O and the R are capital and I-O-N. I named all my cars. I still haven't named my Ford Taurus yet, but we'll get to that. Yeah, so I was just in the house chilling. It was January 23rd, I believe, or January, sometime in January, about around this time. And I was on cars.com just BSing, watching TV, chilling with my pups. And I saw another black wheels, This time it's black outside, black inside, black wheels, and it had been lowered just a few inches on some H&R coilovers, and it was $45,000. This was a 2009, and it had, I want to say, 19,500 miles on it. In a Ferrari Maserati of Norwood, Massachusetts, out in like near Boston. That's about 90 minutes away. So one of my favorite sayings is, "Oh, the stars are aligned." Well, okay, I can afford 45 grand, or the payments for 45 grand, the insurance, all that stuff. So the very next day, it was a Sunday, and I was scrolling looking for stuff. The very next day, on Monday, I went to the gym, and I said, "Who knows? Let's see what happens." I called my bank. I got approved. I said, "No way, this is about to happen." And then I called the dealership, and I forget the gentleman I work with. I want to say Will, but Will doesn't sound right. If he ever sees this, he knows who he is. And I literally stopped my workout and went to Ferrari Maserati of New England, and I test drove. It was raining. It wasn't the best test drive, but when I sat in it, and when I started it, and when I drove it, it gave me this feeling. I'm getting it right now. It's like chills. It gave me this feeling. It brought back so many memories and so many good vibes from me. I just said, I need to have it. I need to have it. So I went back in the dealership, and we signed deals. Actually, the car was listed at like 46 or 47, but I negotiated to 45, and then I purchased an outdoor car cover. I didn't have a garage at the time. I was still living in Vernon, Connecticut. It was like a townhouse, no garage, whatever. But I needed this thing to make me feel better, and not better, but I just wanted it. You know, I had a void in my heart. And on January 31st, they had to replace like the seat actuator or something like that. They put new brakes on it. They did a bunch of things, so they really took care of me. And January 31st. The salesman drove the car from Boston down to my place in Vernon in a snowstorm. It was snowing. I put the pictures up here, and ORion was home. It was amazing. And that very evening, that night, I took ORion out on summer tires, of course, Michelin Pilot Super Sport, whatever they were. I took ORion out, and leaving my complex, I couldn't get up this hill, so tires were spinning and the car is sliding, and guess what happens? It slides like against the curb, so I scratch up these wheels. Like, man, the first day, I couldn't wait. But I took it out, I enjoyed her. And throughout the year, I think I had ORion for about a year and a half, and throughout the year, oh yes, Oprah was totaled. I didn't say that. Oprah was totaled out. She was worth like $30,000 or $20-something thousand at the time, and it was like $22,000 in damages for all the wheels and the cosmetic. I can put all that stuff up here for you. And so that's what happened to Oprah. But ORion, she didn't get told. It's fine. I enjoyed ORion so much. I took her to one of the first car shows I went to was, I forget what it's called. It's not Broke East or anything, but it's a big car show here in East Hartford at Rentschler Field, and it's a lot of like JDM tuner, import type cars. And then there's this random Maserati in the crowd. That's me. So one company just pulls me out of the line and puts me in front of their booth and gives me some free products just to like have the car sitting in front of their booth. And I was like, wow, this is what it's going to be like to own one. I'm going to enjoy this. And it was such a good time. Just taking it out for good spirited drives, meeting new people, going to the Monday night car clubs that was at the McDonald's over there or at the Hooters, and move around because police, whatever. And I loved it. And I believe, was it in June? No. So another story here, or side story. April, Easter, whatever Easter was in April in 2016. No, 2017. So I bought ORion 2016. Yeah, okay. ORion 2016. No, I bought ORion 2017. Now I'm getting my dates mixed up. I bought her in 2017. Okay, figure this out. And Easter 2017, I was on my way to New York, Yonkers. Fun fact, the house where I live now in Yonkers, I was on my way there, but I hadn't lived there yet. My grandfather's house was staying there. This is another personal story, don't worry about it. And on my way there, I get on the highway and the car like hiccups, and I get a bunch of errors on the dash, and the car goes into fourth gear, and it won't come out of fourth gear. It won't downshift, it won't upshift. I'm like, what is going on? So with Oprah, you know, sometimes when faults would show up, I could turn the car off, open the door for a few seconds, close it, turn the car back on, and everything resets. This wasn't resetting. So I'm like, what is going on? I just got this thing. But I didn't just get it. I got it in January. Anyway, and technically I was past the 90-day lemon law rule, or law, whatever. So I took the car to Valenti Maserati Hartford, and they couldn't figure out what was causing this issue, why the car wouldn't come out of fourth gear, whatever. And I think they had it for like 3 or 4 weeks. No shade to Valenti or anything like that, but they couldn't figure out what was going on. They wanted to get into the transmission and tear it apart. They were gonna start charging me for it. I'm like, all right, let's figure this out. So big shout out to State Farm. State Farm said, we got you covered, we'll tow it to Ferrari, New England. I said, are you serious? So State Farm came and picked the car from Valenti Hartford, and they towed it all the way to like the Boston area. That's like I said, 90-minute drive for a normal vehicle. And a tow truck, it was 2.5 hours. And so I followed them out there, and I dropped the car off. And because Valenti Hartford is more of a newer dealership, so if you're unfamiliar, around 2014, 2015, Fiat took over Maserati. So that dealership was kind of implemented around that time. So they're more familiar with the newer style cars. So mine was older, it was an 09. So Ferrari Maserati New England, they've been around much longer. They're an official Ferrari dealership. They had a lot of older classic Ferraris, and so those guys were able to figure it out. So anyway, the car's up there. Now it's like around my birthday. I'm like, man, this was like a 30th birthday gift for myself. And like, what am I gonna do, you know? So big shout out to Michelle, PVD on Instagram. She hooked me up. She loaned me a 2018 red on red Maserati Gran Turismo to have for like a week, you know? And I was so thankful, so grateful, so appreciative of her. I probably put 600 miles on that thing during the week because I had to drive for work and stuff, and I had friends coming in for my birthday party. It was wonderful, and I fell in love with that one because that had the bigger engine. It had the 4.7 liter, 454 horsepower engine, and mine only had the 400 horsepower, 4.2 liter V8 engine. Night and day difference on how fast that thing was and the sound. But when I got my car back, I didn't hiccup at all. From then until the time I sold it, I want to say in 2018, like June 2018. But I had an absolutely wonderful time with it. So I realized while editing the video, I never said what was wrong with ORion in the first place. So ORion had a mass airflow sensor that went bad. So because the car is a CAM system, a computer-aided network system, if one product goes bad, the whole network freaks out because they all talk to each other. So the mass airflow sensor went bad, and it made everything freak out and put the car in what's called limp mode. Fourth gear, you can go so fast in fourth gear, but you can't shift. So Ferrari Maserati England took great care of me. I was out of the lemon law 90-day period, but they took care of it for me on the house, and they gave me the loaner for my birthday that I mentioned. And it would have been about an $845 repair, which is not too bad. You know, mass airflow sensor, they go bad. But I wanted to make sure I got that in there because I forgot to say it. Lots of different car shows and things. And then around June in 2017, I cut the mufflers off. I didn't cut them off, but somebody did. So I took the car to my boy Tony's shop, in the Goodyear shop in Vernon. They sent it somewhere else, and they took the mufflers off, and they just did a straight pipe back from the resonator out the back, and it sounded so much different, so much better. It was really loud, would annoy the neighbors a little bit. One more. But I just really enjoyed the car. I've multiple trips to Boston in it, multiple trips to New York in it. Never had a cracked rim, anything. The front had 30 series tires on it instead of 25. So I know that was not night and day difference, but a much better cushion for hitting potholes and things like that. But I absolutely missed that car so much. But I sold it in 2018. Yeah, 2018 I sold it. Like I said, I paid $45 for it, and I let it go for $30. It is what it is. Took a $15K loss, but you live and you learn. You know, next time I'm not gonna be doing that same mistake. And I really want to get out of it. You know, the payment was like $773 a month, and the insurance, and the car taxes here in Connecticut. It was just a lot. Like, you know what? I can be doing better things with this money. So that's what I decided to do. I sold it, and I had the Challenger, and that's it. That's the story of Oprah and ORion. Well, thanks for checking this video out. I appreciate it. Listen to me ramble and tell the story. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care.